I agree.
No, Oppenheimer sucks.
I mean,
he refused to
Cooper Rush worth
acknowledge
2.5 points?
I would hope
Quinn Ewers put up a decent
we're
stat
live
line against Arizona State. If he didn't, we have a real problem.
You can say the same thing about Creighton. Okay, they had the one good game against Kansas at home.
When Toast talks about the kicking market, it's like some earth is flat shit. Andy, true or false, this is going to be a dog walking.
Dog walking. This is my dog walking of the day. I think it's going to be very ugly. Dog walking. I think this is going to be ugly.
Hey, get this sword.
Greetings. Happy Friday. Hope you're all having a lovely day. Hope you all had a lovely Thursday night. I did not. And last night was a perfect example of where I'm at with my betting process. Probably currently sitting about 65-35 winning and fun. And last night I didn't like anything on the board for the NBA. I kind of liked Houston, kind of liked Orlando. Ended up saying, screw it. I don't care about Suggs. I'll lay the points with Orlando. Even though when I talked about it, I had said if Suggs plays about a dozen times. Suggs ends up getting ruled out. Orlando loses. Houston did cover. Didn't. Oh, speaking of which. What's up, guys? Did you guys catch the game last night? Forgot I brought down a Rockets hat for this one.
Quote unquote. If Şengün doesn't play, I'm out.
I'm out.
I did. But you know what? Someone said it on Twitter. They were like, Şengün and Morant's out. I say belts up. Someone said that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so me and Proppy were just having a heated argument about the movie Oppenheimer. That's what you heard the start of. That's been going on for about 14 minutes before the stream. All right.
Some people know film.
We got 7 NBA. We got 4 college basketball. I have 2 open bets right now. There's a few others I have my eye on. One of my bets is in this game right here. First up, Clips on the road in Charlotte. CLV King at it again. Got the Hornets team total under 99.5 last night. That's the good news. The bad news is if you didn't get it, it's 97.5. That's not as bad as I thought. I thought it was like 95.5 now. Because the total's 208.5. The Clips are 13-point favorites. So mathematically.
Well, last night when you got the line, they were 14.5 point favorites.
No, are we sure it's 97.5 right now?
Dude,
Yeah, that's right.
I
That's
went
right.
to
I'm looking at it
FanDuel.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's 97 across the board.
Is that math? That math ain't math and ain't mathin'.
Yeah.
You want
Clippers
to fight? You want
team
to fight
is-
on the street?
yeah.
I went to OddsJam for both of the
Well, the
lines.
Clippers,
DJ
the
Quad.
Clippers spread went down, so maybe that's
I was
why.
gonna say it only went down a little bit though, Ski. Like it feel like the total should have went down a little bit more. I understand what y'all was saying, but yeah, I get what you're saying too, Ski. Like this line dropped a lot from a total perspective, the full game total perspective.
For those of you that haven't placed the bet and want to know why I placed this, very simple. The Hornets without LaMelo Ball are an abysmal offensive organization. They could still play defense at a decent level. In fact, the defense with or without LaMelo Ball, on paper, it's pretty much the same. It's like 110, 111 in terms of defensive rating. So the defense doesn't really take a hit, which is why they are still capable of covering the number here and there without LaMelo. But they can't score. Their offense is awful without LaMelo Ball. Maybe getting Josh Green back gives them a little bit of something, but we're talking about right now, the way these two teams are built, the lineups we're going to see on the floor tonight, we very well may be talking about the best defense in the NBA. The Clippers, when they have Kawhi, are probably the best defense in the NBA against the worst offense in the NBA. The Hornets without LaMelo are probably the worst offense in the NBA. So, not to mention, on top of that, probably see a relatively slow-paced game. I think it's very possible that the Hornets fail to reach 90, let alone 100. So yeah, I'm on Hornets team total under 99.5. Honestly, I don't even think it's a bad bet at 97.5.
I agree that the Hornets do struggle to score without LaMelo. When you start getting under 100, it's hard for me to push confirm. That's all I'm gonna say. So can they score under 97.5? Absolutely. I couldn't push the trigger. But when I see a total drop from 2.8 or 216 all the way down to 208, 8-point move, it makes me want to think nothing other than has it gone too far where we can take the other side. And Hornets, I know you talked about them defensively. It's still not a team that I trust. I don't think they really are gonna. I'm just saying, I think the Clippers can score what they want in this game. So I understand you taking the Charlotte side under, but I think the full game can probably get over 208. It just seems like too low of a total.
I agree that I do that sometimes. Play the tail end of the market on the other side. I'm down with that. And honestly, I do think the Clippers get up and over their total. So don't necessarily even hate that. Chris, what about you?
So I play what you played, Cal. I play under for Charlotte too. And to Ski's point, and it's for everything that you said, Cal. We don't have like outside of like looking at the Charlotte Hornets without LaMelo, you can't really quantify how bad the Hornets offense is unless you go back to the last game they just played against the Brooklyn Nets and they scored 83. So they're and the Brooklyn Nets defense is not as good as the Clippers. By any stretch of the imagination, especially with Kawhi Leonard on the floor. And the Brooklyn Nets and the Clippers, one thing they have in common is that they both play slow. And you're talking about two teams that are going to play slow. So if I had to add anything right now, I think I would lay it just because when I looked at the Clippers, they've only been a big favorite twice this season. They were laying 7 against Portland early this season, and they were laying 8.5 against Portland this season. They won both of those games by 25 and 29. So I have a hard time trying to figure out where the points are going to come from for the Hornets. So I think it's 13 on some books, 13.5. I would lay that number as well. But official play, I got the 99.5 as well over on BetMGM.
I want to read off a comment here. Comes in from Cheeks. He says, "Sauce, hold that belt up, baby. Put a few units on them Rockets." Love it. You'll love to hear it. Let's move on to the next one. Prop Beaver's in for this one.
Yeah.
But wait. So I know you're thinking Dallas Mavericks game, Prop Beaver's face. You're about to see Gafford. I don't think you went with Gafford in this one.
No.
Do you want me to go first?
You get. We both have the same bet in this one, so you could go first.
I didn't actually place it. So,
Really?
Prop Beaver, I looked and the DraftKings was being buggy last night. But all right. So Prop Beaver likes the Pistons team total under. He bet it. You could put that up for me too, because if I would have bet, it would be that. It's tough because on one side, the Mavericks haven't been the best defensive team recently. In fact, it's kind of fallen off a little bit. Their defensive rating in the last 12 games is like 116 or something. It's not all that great. But in this particular spot, you got the Pistons coming home from a 5-game, 9-day road trip. So typically a spot you like to fade or count on some flat, or a quote-unquote flat spot. But in reality, this Pistons offense just doesn't look good at all. I think they're really starting to miss Jaden Ivey. I'm not sure if that's exactly the reason, but for whatever reason, this Pistons team struggling to score points. They're playing some decent defense, but they're struggling to score points. So if you just look on paper, Dallas has been struggling to defend the fast break, even though on the full season, the numbers look good. Recently, they've been struggling. It should be a decent matchup for the Pistons, but until that offense shows me they can consistently score, I can't trust them, especially in a spot when they're returning from a road trip. So even though the Mavs defense hasn't been all that great, I'm considering trusting them here. There's a couple reasons I didn't place the bet. Number one, like I said, I'm a little worried about the matchup. It shouldn't be the worst matchup on paper for the Pistons. But number two, the pace. I don't think it's out of the realm that we see a fast-paced game either. So if I was to place a bet, I'd be siding with Prop Beaver on the Pistons team total under, but I didn't actually bet this one.
All right. I do like the Pistons team total under.
You're coming in quiet.
No, I'm just kidding. I do like the Pistons team total under quite a bit in this one. I only put a half unit on it compared to my normal full unit plays, but that's due to the multiple centers being out for Dallas. But I still liked it enough to bet it for that half unit wager. Main reasons why is that from a play type perspective, Dallas just matches up so well against Detroit. I mean, Detroit loves to run in transition. Dallas, 4th in frequency allowed, 3rd in points per game allowed, so they've been good at limiting those opportunities. Also, what does Detroit like to do? They like to run the pick and roll. Dallas has also been really good at defending those opportunities as well, so I just think Detroit is going to struggle to score from a play type perspective. Also, what does the Detroit offense really like to do? They like to attack the paint. Dallas defense has not been good at defending many parts of the floor lately. One part they have been really good at defending, actually their main strength, defending that paint area. So I really like that. And then from a spot perspective as well, you got this Detroit offense coming home from 5 games, 9 days on the road, facing a Western Conference team. And Cade Cunningham, I just feel like has been taking too much of the load lately offensively. I mean, his usage rate has been like near, I think like 38% or whatever over his last 7 games, and it hasn't been helping this offense. In fact, it's been hurting it dramatically in terms of their efficiency. So I just think that at the number of 114.5, this is a bit too high. So I'm going to take the under here.
Cool. I don't even know what either of these guys are on here. I watched pieces of your guys' show, but I didn't remember what you guys said about this.
Oh,
one.
the last thing I wanted to add is that Cade Cunningham's PRA line was at, I think it was like, I don't know, I think it was at 43.5 or whatever.
43.5 it was.
Yeah, he was the main guy who's going to be producing for this team. His total went down to 42.5, and it was at like plus money for the over. So I thought that was pretty weird, especially with the way he's been producing lately. So if he's not going to be producing this game, that makes me even more confident that we could get that team total under.
What do you guys think, Chris, Ski?
Well, the only person I trust from the other side is Cade Cunningham. So I would say his prop went down because the total went down.
Okay.
Yeah, total dropped about 4 points, I think, something like that. So that would be my guess, but I didn't bet this game. If I did, I would bet KPRA. I think he'll even have to rebound tonight too. So yeah, that's what I would think.
Chris?
So I first of all, I agree with what Ski just said. I really like Cade as well. I didn't even know that it went down to 42.5, but that's definitely on my short list. Have not bet it yet. I think looking at it as a narrative play as well, not like he's not gonna have to do everything because he always does, but to Ski's point, he's gonna have to rebound the ball. I think he will be able to grab a few more rebounds in this game, just because I think we haven't seen like when I went back and just kind of looked at what what Dallas has been playing against recently. Granted, you look at their strength of schedule last 5 games, it is I think like 8th. But a couple of those games came against OKC when they beat OKC. First one didn't have SGA. The second one had SGA but didn't have Isaiah Hartenstein. And I don't think either one of them had Isaiah Hartenstein. So the last 2 wins for Dallas have actually come against the Washington Wizards, a team that bleeds points in the paint, a la Jackson Hayes yesterday, points, rebounds, and assists up and over. And the New Orleans Pelicans, Messi, not great at all. So I actually think Detroit has a chance to win. I know it's a flat spot, like you said, Cal. I didn't bet them, but I do lean their way. I think that they can, like, as far as desperation spot, I think they've lost 3 straight games to end the road trip. I don't feel like Dallas has seen a team that can actually rebound the boards with only having Daniel Gafford down there at the center position. So I give Detroit a chance to win this game. I would take them on the spread if I was going to play it. And I would definitely be looking towards Cade, especially with him just having his first All-Star selection in this game. And Isaiah Stewart just got suspended for a game as well. That's even another chance for him to get the board. So I like Cade up and over 42.5 and a slight lean towards Detroit to win the game.
All right, let's move on to the next one, which is my favorite play of the day here. I knew as soon as I looked at the matchup, I knew I was going here. Bet the over last night, 231.5 minus 105. It's Denver, Philadelphia, for those of you listening that can't see the screen. And I got the over last night at 231.5. I mean, you got Denver. What have they been doing all year? They played a super fast pace, a completely offensively centered team. They rely on scoring. The defense has fallen off a cliff. In fact, on this road trip, Denver is playing virtually no defense. I think this is the 4th game of the road trip. They look like shit defensively. So Denver has a very clear style right now. They score, they play fast, they play no defense. This is how you're seeing such high-scoring games in these Nuggets games. And on the other side, you got Philadelphia, who, number one, cannot protect the basket to save their lives. They're one of the worst rim-protecting defenses in the NBA, and they're matched up against Denver, who takes more shots at the rim than anybody. Jokic should have an all-you-can-eat buffet here. Same with Aaron Gordon. They should do whatever they want down low in this injured Sixers front court. And then on Philadelphia, all of a sudden their offense is scoring. I mean, we saw it against Cleveland. We saw it against the Lakers. I mean, the Sixers offensively are coming together. Also, the pace is starting to speed up a little bit for Philadelphia. So, in my opinion, this is still too low. I would have this close to 240. We should see a fast-paced game. Probably not going to see much defense. Yeah, like I said, that over 231.5 is my biggest bet today.
I'm on the same bet. Kyle actually talked me into it. I was thinking about backing my boy Yabusele. I mean, the Joker, as much as he gives, he's really bad at defending against the centers. But the problem is that it's going to be an all-you-can-eat party at the rim, and I just think that he could get into foul trouble immediately. I mean, not only does he have to deal with Joker, Aaron Gordon attacks the rim at a godly rate. You got Christian Braun attacking the rim at an unholy rate, Peyton Watson. So I just think that there's so many guys that are going to be attacking a very, very vulnerable rim for the Nuggets. And then on top of that, you got the Sixers offense that's surging right now. The Nuggets defense that looks at an all-time low. So I know 233.5 is a bit high for a Sixers offense. You look at that roster right now and you're like, Jesus Christ, where are the points coming from? Post Wisdom Teeth Eric Gordon's on an absolute goddamn heater. You got Tyrese Maxey pushing the pace over there without old ass PG on the floor. So I think that I would still take this at 233.5 if you could still get it. 234, I guess that's where you go to a half unit at that point. But yeah, I love this over.
Ski?
Yeah, I don't know that I need to really say anymore.
Yeah.
I bet this over 231.5. You know,
Let's go. Me too. Same. And Chris, are we in oversweep?
We are, yeah. I talked about this one too. Philly,
Oh, man.
ninth in
Four of
offensive
us.
efficiency last 5 games, 23rd defensively. It's pretty much what it is both teams top 10 offensive and bottom 10 defensive, and both teams playing a lot faster. So yeah, I agree with the over here as well. And the all-you-can-eat buffet with all the guys, like y'all said, for Denver being able to score at the rim, because Philly is not only allowing people to attack the rim, but they're scoring at a high rate as well. So I agree with all that.
So this is a little scary. So not only do all 4 of us have the over, but the poll, it's the more people are picking the over than the teams.
Wow, that literally never happens. I'm truly
I've never
scared
seen
for my
that.
life. Yeah.
More people clicked on the over than Nuggets minus 9.5. So
When we start your show, Kyle, not to cut you off, when we start your show and you go first, and we on the same thing, I start looking into ways to want to fade both of us, because I'm like, what if we aren't seeing it the right way? Like, what could happen differently here? But hopefully we're all on the same.
well,
page.
so
what could happen different is Nuggets maybe run out of gas. They've been traveling for a while. 4th straight road game, so a fatigue spot for them. But it's just a layup line I see, and like, I don't know. I'll have to bet it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't give a damn.
And-
I don't give a damn.
So it's 39% on the over. This is the most popular over we've ever had here. Some maybe some explanation as far as, obviously this show is going to be mostly my community watching. I said in the Discord last night that this was my favorite bet of the day. So I'm sure a lot of people saw that, tailed, and are on the over, that are watching, that are clicking the over, said I already bet this last night. So I'm sure that has a lot to do with it. I'm sure 40% of the public is not betting the over. But yeah, this is an over game. Next up.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, when Kyle said that and I was choosing between 6 different players to take an over for this game, I was like, just take the fucking over, dude. What are we doing here?
Chicago, Toronto. I have thoughts on this game. Chris, go ahead. I know what you're on. I want you to say it first.
I'm on Toronto. I was just checking the injury report because I hadn't looked at it since. But yeah, I've lost so much money fading the Bulls this year. That why not just sign me up again? Because I do think that they're gonna revert back to who we think that they are. I'm hopeful that Quickly doesn't play. But I'm hopeful that Grady Dick doesn't play either. I think both of those guys destroy this number 1 rated defense that we've seen. But Chicago, I think, are like trying to pack it in. I don't think that they really want to win this game. So yeah, I did bet I bet the -3 last night. A fade of Chicago. Also looking at Toronto in these revenge games, they have, for whatever reason, taken them serious. We saw Toronto. They lost to Boston early this season by 50. I think it was 55 or 45. And then Boston went back to Toronto a couple weeks ago and lost the game outright, getting like 15 points. So Toronto revenge games at the crib so far this season, because they did lose the first one, 122-121 by 1 point. They're 5-1 straight up and against the number. We only need them to win by a bucket here. It seems super easy. Where's the line at right now? I don't know how much it's moved. Is it 4.5?
4.5.
4.5. Yeah, I bet 3 last night.
Oh shit! The Factor commercial. We'll do it right after this game. I forgot.
No, our college basketball segment is brought to you guys by our friends at Factor.
That's cool. All right. I think the Bulls are gonna win. I didn't bet it. Ski, are you on the Raptors?
I didn't bet this game, but their defense has been playing really good lately, holding opponents last 5 games to I think around 98 points. And I don't think the Bulls are that good of a team in general, especially when you don't have Levine. So maybe even a Bulls team total under. I wouldn't be betting on the Bulls. So you're on your own, Kyle.
That's what I said last night. Said Raptors or Bulls team total under. That's why I was leaning. I've had a change of heart. Really a self-reflection period this morning. Just looking at my computer screen. I think the Bulls are going to win this game. So first of all, we can talk about the rotation. Quickly might be back. Jamal Sheed is questionable. If Quickly plays and Jamal Sheed doesn't, that's 22 excellent defensive minutes turned into 30 horrible defensive minutes. That could change the Raptors defense from awesome back to absolute trash. That's serious minutes shift right there. Jamal Sheed has been an excellent defensive piece for the Raptors. If he doesn't play and Quickly does, bye-bye defense. So the defense that have been winning the Raptors all these games, gone. If Quickly plays and Sheed doesn't. Also, we do have to take into consideration the schedules here. The Raptors have played. You got the Hawks twice. Okay, solid. You got Orlando with nobody. New Orleans, missing pieces. Washington, the worst basketball team we've ever seen. Milwaukee, they got their ass beat. They've played some easier teams, and I know the Bulls could fit that description. Meanwhile, Chicago, who has looked like shit, at Boston against the Nuggets before that. Philadelphia, who we're now learning it might be good right now. Like a loss to Philadelphia looks bad, but considering they just beat the Cavs and they've won 4 in a row, Philadelphia is playing well right now. That loss doesn't look as bad. Same goes for the loss at Portland. All of a sudden, Portland's good. So a loss at Portland a week and a half ago doesn't look that bad for the Bulls. I think the Bulls are going to win.
So Kyle, here's my questions. So with Quickly back, you think Chicago wins how? Like offensively, you think they just like do what they did against Denver the other day? Because when I was looking at this, I didn't mention this. When I was looking at this, it's all about, in my opinion, what are the Bulls' profile, just like the Brooklyn Nets, in my opinion. They're a team that likes to get downhill and then eventually kick out to a bunch of three-point shooters, right? On the full season, they are second in three-point frequency, 10th in three-point accuracy. And it's pretty much been the same last 5 games. Toronto is running teams off the line, top 10 against the three-point shot, right? And number 1 in overall three-point accuracy for their opponents' last 5 games. So how you think the Bulls win?
Okay. So yes, I get it. Yeah, based on recent production, how are they going to win? I get that question, but also let's take a step back. I think this is going to be one of those games where fast forward 2 months and you look back at this one, like the Raptors were laying 4 to the Bulls. Like one of those where it's like, yeah, we understand why the Raptors are laying in the moment, but when you take a step back, kind of like remember when the Saints were laying 3 to the Eagles this year? And I took the Eagles +3, and I'm like, yo, guys, we're going to look back at this and be like, the Saints were laying to the Eagles? It's kind of like that, where, yeah, I get why we're all caught up in the moment. Oh, Raptors -4. But if you take a step back, it's like, wait, Raptors -4? So even though, based on recent production, I completely get why the Raptors are laying 4, they're not the better team. And if Quickly plays, sayonara.
I just want to add that Jamal Shed, that's his name, Shed. That's my boy.
Oh, is it Shed?
I'm a big fan. He's made me a lot of money.
It's Shed?
Yes.
It's spelled Sheed. He's Sheed to me. Next. Someone says for the belt. Dude, I'm tired of taking the belt from Chris. It's getting old.
I think you've done it twice all season. Relax.
It just happens to be 2 in a row. All right. Boston, New Orleans. You guys want to go on this one? I don't have much interest in this game, to be honest.
Well, wish I still had the numbers in front of me, but what I will start off and say is this Celtics team is off a blowout win. And what have we seen from the Celtics? When they lose, you know, they actually act like they care about playing basketball. They give a really good effort. But when they start blowing people out or off a good win, they come in lackadaisical the next game and just kind of sleepwalk through it. If you look at the ATS numbers, it will reflect that. So
3-16 is the number you're looking for, Ski. 15.8%.
There you go. So a combination of that, and then Pelicans getting a little bit healthy. I'm hoping Zion can play tonight. or healthier than they were earlier in the year. And just being at home, playing a close game last game, I think they'll be competitive again. I think you'll get effort from that team there at the house. So the team with effort, getting double digits, versus a team who'll sleepwalk on the road, I'll go with the Pelicans.
Chris, are you on the same side?
Yeah, I didn't bet it, but I agree. If I want the Pelicans, this feels like because I bet Memphis early yesterday before Ja Morant even popped up on the injury report. He was fine. He wasn't even probable. He was in.
Right.
In the middle of the day, he was out. I mean, he was doubtful, and then they let it linger all day long too, to right up about 10 minutes to 30 minutes before the game time. Then he ended up being out. So I don't want to get burned like that. I want no part of the Pelicans without Zion. Like they need Zion in my opinion. But to Ski's point, that 3-16 is like you just kind of figure out the Celtics. After a win, you don't want them anymore. And if the win is come by 20 points or more, they're 2-10 against the spread. And they just beat the Bulls by 20. If they on the road after a game that they won by 20, they're 0-6 against the spread in their last 6 if they're laying double digits after winning by 20. So yeah, I want nothing to do with Boston. They kind of sleepwalking right now. What are they? 3-7, I think, 4-6 against the spread in their last 10. Like this just seems like an unmotivated Celtic spot. But like I said, I want Zion in if I want to touch this game with the Pelicans.
I think I would tend to agree with you guys. I'm not even gonna. Don't even put it up for me though. I don't want it there. Next up. Oh, Prop Beaver joins us. This is okay. This is an interesting one because all right, the question we need answered in this game is the Spurs defense. Do we think we could count on this defense? If you look, all right, so if you remember, quick one sentence summary of the Spurs season, they had a great defense for pretty much the entire year. Jeremy Sohan gets hurt, the defense goes to absolute shit. That happened 8 games ago. Sohan gets hurt, Spurs defense falls off a cliff. In fact, they were looking like one of the worst defenses in the NBA. I believe they were literally 30th in the last 10 games. So Jeremy Sohan gets hurt, Spurs defense goes to shit. Now Jeremy Sohan is back. So the question we need to answer is, are the Spurs going to shift back over to being a great defense again? Because they were a great defense for most of the year. Here's the problem. Jeremy Sohan's been back for 3 games now. One of those games, we saw a great defensive effort. It was the first game in France against the Pacers. They won 140-110. I was on Spurs money line in Las Vegas. Enjoyed my stay. The 2 games since then, Jeremy Sohan is active. The defenses look like trash. Now, do we cut them slack? Because they played the Pacers and then the Clippers with Kawhi, who we all know the Clippers with Kawhi, one of the best teams in the NBA when they're fully healthy. So do we cut them some slack because they played 2 good teams? I don't think I could put my money on the Spurs defense returning, even though if you ask me personally, I do think the Spurs defense is going to come back. I can't put my money on it. And then to add on to that, because I truly think I wouldn't be surprised if the Bucks score 150 tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if the Spurs defense returns healthy. Truly, I think that the Bucks could land anywhere. On top of that, the line movement was weird because I was looking at 3.5 last night. It gets bet down to 2.5. Total goes up, which means the market thinks the Spurs are going to be scoring points here. The total goes up and the line comes down, which is like, that's not how I was seeing it at all. So I'm all over the place with this game. I don't have a bet on it. I'm open to suggestions if you guys have anything.
Well, I took the Bucks team total. I'm not one to think the Spurs defense is going to show up tonight. What I heard from you is Sohan returned 3 games ago, and they played 3 straight over games since. And they did just come back from France, right? Before they played the Clippers, look a little bit jet lagged in that game. I'm not sure that they return to form in this next game either. Also, Giannis has kind of owned Wemby, owned the Spurs. Bucks have put up 120 plus the last 4 times these teams have played. And the Bucks, for all the stuff that's been going on with them, all the travel stuff, games postponed, et cetera, playing all these games in short time span, they still been playing good basketball. I know they lost 2 of those games, but they've been in a lot of terrible situations and still been putting up points. So I think I can trust this Bucks offense. I took over 117.5 as a team total.
Yeah, I can't say I disagree with that. Since Sohan got hurt, which was 8 games ago, we've seen 7 terrible defensive games and 1 good one. So I get it. Chris, what are your thoughts?
They're very, very similar to what Ski said. I didn't bet the game though. The way I see the Spurs, we talked about this when I think it was one of the Memphis games, Kyle, before they went over to France, is that when San Antonio plays games where they're expected to score a bunch of points or just as a high total in general, they typically can't keep up. Like, it's almost like they don't have enough offense. We know that it's a young, like pretty inexperienced team. Like Castle's a rookie, Harrison Barnes first year there. Victor is ascending, but Chris Paul, not that he's not a great point guard in his own right, but he's still, trying to get there as well. So to put some numbers behind that, these are updated ones. When the Spurs play a game and the total is below 225, they're 12-11 straight up, 15-8 against the number. When you put the total above 225 and you expect the Spurs to score, they're 5-15 against the number, and they're losing by an average of 8 points. Now, if the Bucks weren't coming off a loss to Portland the other day, I would say, okay, Bucks back-to-back wins. San Antonio needs to win more, and it makes a lot of sense. The numbers continue to get shorter, like you said, Kyle, but I'm only looking towards the Bucks. I feel like every time that Wemby plays up against Giannis, Giannis is very physical with him, which is why he had 10 points and 10 rebounds in the earlier matchup. And I think until Wemby until he gets in the weight room, which is not going to come overnight, it's going to come in the summer where he can be more physical. All of the losses that I see with San Antonio is because it's a big physical guy that's kind of disrupting the flow of Victor Wembanyama. So I agree with everything Ski said. I would, now that it's down to pretty much a money line play at 1.5, I would just jump on the Bucks minus the 1.5, and that's the way that I'm looking. I don't like that Bobby Portis isn't there, but I still think that they have enough. And I just don't want to catch the falling knife with San Antonio. This team is the worst defensive rated team over the last 5 games, just getting smoked. And what are the Bucks right now? 7-3 to the over? No, 8-2 to the over in their last 10 games. Offense has been absolutely clicking. Couple days rest, like Ski said as well, after the Bucks loss. I think they're the right side.
Fellas.
You know what? Put up before you go, Prop Beaver, put Bucks money line up for me too. I agree with what these two guys just said, and this might be one. It's Friday night. Toast is in town from Alaska. Probably want to do some gambling tonight. Maybe I tap dance on over to a Bucks money line bet later.
My sources tell me that the Shedsman is now doubtful.
Oh, I'm betting the Bulls. Fuck this. I'm betting the Bulls right now. Money line. Don't need the points. Fuck this.
First time I get Cal to agree with me in quite a while, and then he just go hop on the Bulls right after. Same sentence.
Plus
same
150.
breath.
Plus 150. I'm hitting it right now. ESPN bet. Say less. Go ahead, Prop Beaver. I'm just going to hit this Bulls
All
money
right,
line.
so I must preface, I will not be playing this if AJ Green is active. Not the Bengals wide receiver, White AJ Green, guard of the Milwaukee Bucks. So he's questionable with an ankle injury. This would be his 6th game he's missed if he misses this one. So AJ Green of the Bucks, we are monitoring his status. If he is out for this ball game, this is a full go. So if AJ Green is out, then we're going to play this one. Why do we like Gary Trent Jr. here today? So without AJ Green, we've seen his minutes boost. We've seen his usage boost. And he's had 9+ field goal attempts in 4 straight games. With 9+ field goal attempts this season, he's over his last 10 of 11 games. He's averaging 15+ points per game. And his line's at 10.5. You get that for plus 102 on FanDuel. And I really love this matchup for Gary Trent Jr. here because most of his shots are coming from the above the break 3. I mean, 50% of his shots come from there. The Spurs defense over their last 10 games, 30th and above the break 3 efficiency. They've been getting killed from that zone. The other bulk of his shots are coming in the paint and from the long mid-range. If you look at the Spurs defense over the last 10 games, 20th in paint efficiency, 22nd in mid efficiency. They're getting absolutely smoked from these areas while their main strengths are at the rim and the corner where he really doesn't shoot those shots. So we saw Gary Trent already have 14 against the Spurs team earlier this season. And if you look at Chris Middleton, he's been coming off the bench lately. One of his most recent games, he had an 8% usage rate with 0 points. I do not know what the hell is going on with Chris Middleton, but if there's going to be no AJ Green in this game, and Chris Middleton is basically just doing cardio out there, then Gary Trent Jr. is going to have a hell of usage on the floor against one of the worst defenses in the league right now, one that plays a pretty fast pace. I'm going to play that Gary Trent Jr. over for sure. I know we've had some pretty ugly names in terms of the player props on the show lately.
But you've been hitting.
I know. We're hitting at a pretty solid rate here. So let's keep it going with these ugly props. And, yeah.
All right, let's move on to the last game. Should have bet this one last night. I still don't hate it at the current number. If you guys watched the video I uploaded, I took the over at 226.5. Is it at 228 now? Let me pull up the current line. 228, 228.5. So I'd be holding a couple points of value had I did. I still think the over would be the move here. The reason I was a little hesitant to hit it last night, a little worried about the pace of play. I don't think we're going to see a necessarily fast-paced game here between the Suns and Warriors, and obviously you don't want to be holding an over in what might be a slow-paced game. But as far as scoring, offense versus defense on both sides, I'm not sure where the stops are coming from tonight. I mean, Phoenix, couple games back, you remember Phoenix offense has been great for 9 straight games. They've been scoring, and I pointed at the strength of schedule. I said, guys, the Suns have been picking on some bad defenses, right? Remember when I bet the Timberwolves? It was one of my top bets the other night. Said the Suns have been picking on some bad defenses. Well, the offense scored. I won my bet, but it wasn't because the Suns offense got stopped. The Suns offense were fine. It was the defense that looked bad. So that makes 11 straight games where the Suns offense seems to have woken up. The last 2 against the Clippers and the Timberwolves, 2 of the better defenses in the NBA. So what the Suns have shown me over the last 3 or 4 weeks is they're going to score points on anybody when they're healthy. Enter the Golden State Warriors, who no question defense has fallen off since they've lost Draymond Green. Significant difference in the last 9 games without him. But so the Suns are going to score on Golden State. But I mentioned how the Warriors defense has fallen off. When Draymond Green got hurt, the offense did the exact opposite. So the Warriors offense got worse when Draymond went out, but they've actually been scoring. They're 3-1 straight up, 3-1 against the spread in their last 4. If you look at their offensive rating over the last 9 games, it's significantly better. So the offense for the Warriors has been better, and the Suns defense isn't anything special. So I think we're just going to see shots being hit tonight. Whether or not they run a fast enough pace to get up and over the total, not sure. That's why I didn't bet it, but I do think it gets up and over the total. That would be the bet here. Ski?
I don't disagree at all. Only thing I do disagree is you're questioning if we'll get the pace that you want in this game. I think you will. Steve Kerr kind of was asked about it, I think, on Monday, if they're playing at the pace that he likes, and he said no, like pretty much saying they need to play faster. Whether
Steve Kerr said that
stops. Well, it's back on Monday. What day is it today? Friday. But anyway, yeah. So he talked about that a little bit, and then just watching the games. Like I had the over in the previous Golden State game, right, versus the Thunder. They're playing slow. They're getting killed in the first quarter, in the first half. They come out the second half running at every opportunity, and they finally start having success. They end up winning that game outright as a double-digit underdog. Like, that's the key to their success for the Warriors. They need to play more up-tempo, whether it's off made baskets or not. So I agree with the total going up. I kind of feel like also Golden State has, like I've been saying, they have been playing without an identity since Kuminga went down, and I think they're kind of finding out the way they need to play again. So I think the Warriors are the right side, and I agree with the look on the over.
So did you actually take the over, or you just say you agree with me?
I didn't. I played it last game, but hearing you talk.
So what if I went with Warriors team total over them? Yeah, the Warriors.
But you were talking about, Phoenix can score on.
I might bet
so
this.
I think
honestly.
they should be included.
Chris, where are you at on this one?
Not what you guys are saying. I was leaning more under. I think this is the first matchup that I'm not gonna get there with the under though. Totals have just been, I've been on the wrong side of too many totals. And you mentioned this the other day too, Cal, just the strength of schedule for Phoenix. Like I really want to be on Phoenix in the game. I think with Nick Richards being there, I think that's going to like help the rebounding. Phoenix does play well against Golden State. For whatever reason, they've like pretty much owned them. 8-2 in the last 10, straight up 7-3. I'm sorry, 8-2 against the spread, 7-3 in the last 10. I think they beat them. They both have won already once this season. So I'm looking at current form. You mentioned it, Cal. Like Golden State's been playing a little bit better. You said 3-1 straight up in their last 5. I think Phoenix is gonna start making some noise though. I feel like Devin Booker being left off the All-Star team is only gonna light a fire underneath him. Like I like the addition to Nick Richards. Since he has been on the team, I was looking into this while y'all was talking. Since Nick Richards has been on the team, they actually 4-2 to the under in the 6 games that he's played, and they're staying under by about 6 points. You look at the Phoenix Suns; they're only giving up about 108 points per game. And with the Golden State Warriors, to me, it's all about whether those 3-point shots are going to fall. We know that all they want to do is shoot a bunch of threes. So if they're falling, the total is going to fly over for both of you guys. But if they're not falling, this is going to be an under game, and I think Phoenix can get the job done. So it'll be all about if they can guard the 3-point line in this one. But like I said, I probably won't pull the trigger, because what I like about Golden State is that they haven't had to travel. I think this is the 5th straight home game for them, and they are gaining some momentum. We talked about not wanting to take the 10, not lay the 10 with OKC in the last game, Kyle, and they won the game outright against OKC, even on the second leg of a back-to-back. So Golden State, for whatever reason, they are putting it together, and if I can make strong sides for both, I'll stay on the sideline, but I'll slightly lean towards Phoenix to get the job done here.
Want to put the belt up on the total?
Nope.
A total belt's boring too. That's some boring shit.
That's really boring. Yeah.
All right. I want to clear the board so they can see these guys' names. So both these guys have their own YouTube channel. Actually, go ahead, Ski. Where can they find your stuff?
Yeah, everything at Ski Profit. If you have Twitter, I'll tweet out every single show that I'm on. So that's a good way to check what I do. Appreciate you having me on.
Chris?
Yeah, same thing. At Crispy Captain 2 P's 2 N's over on YouTube. And I don't really tweet too much at all anymore, but you can follow me over on X if you like. Appreciate you having me on, Kyle.
Yep. Guys, enjoy your weekend. I'm sure I'll talk to you. Let's talk some college basketball. Oh, first, let's go ahead, Prop Fever.
Let's get cooking.
Let's get it
just
cooking.
want to share my experience with Factor 75. This company really changed things for me. I mean, you rewind a couple years ago, YouTube channel was growing, working long hours, door dashing like a madman, crushing my waistline and my wallet. That's when I discovered Factor 75. Skip the overpriced takeout trap. Factor's cheaper and way more delicious. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door. They're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you to get back to your grind. When things get hectic, no worries, Factor's flexible. Change your order up every week with plans from 4 to 18 meals per week, or pause or reschedule your deliveries at any time. I love Factor 75. I'm a huge Factor 75 guy. We all are here. Head to factor75.com or click the link below. Use the code 50SAUCE to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first Factor box. That's code 50SAUCE at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box.
All right, we're back. Let's get Toast on the screen and talk some college hoops. Is that your college hoop song? Oh, we don't need headphones. Had headphones on. Toast is sitting like 9 feet to my right.
He looks like 620p though. Why the hell does this guy look like a friggin' Paper Mario character?
It looks fine to me.
Okay. Nah, now he looks fine, I guess. Yeah. There we go. I think.
Oh, your green screen's. You have. You have it torqued.
It's just like his similarity or whatever, right?
Yeah. Turn that down.
There we go.
Yeah, that's your fault. It's the producer's fault.
Eat a bag of schmeat. All right.
All right. Let's talk some college hoops. Butler, Georgetown. This is too short. Georgetown's the move here, right?
I didn't bet this game, but it would be Butler or pass for me. Like I said against St. John's, I'm worried that our nice little run with this Georgetown team might be coming to a very quick end. 10-point loss to Providence that was on the road, but a 22-point or 24-point loss to St. John's or whatever it was. And it's not like they've been playing fantastic at home. They lost a 5-point game to DePaul at home. They lost by 8 to UConn at home. So the last time that this team has actually won a game at home was the Xavier game, and that was kind of before Xavier started playing really well. And then you have a Butler team that, again, they're really bad too. I can't really go on in here and say about how they've been really impressive on the road or anything like that, but they did play Providence in the dunk, or I'm sorry, Providence at the dunk. Yeah, they also had to play St. John's on the road, Marquette on the road, Houston on the road, UConn on the road. So Georgetown on the road isn't really a huge thing for me. I don't think it's going to be a huge thing for Butler. And it's just a question of if Butler can make their shots, because Georgetown really plays like a zone. They're going to force Butler to make shots, but Butler's been pretty decent over the course of the full season. One of the top 75 teams in the country shooting the 3-ball. So if Butler's going to get a whole bunch of open looks from the outside, it's just a matter of if they hit them. So for me, if I had to make a bet in this game, it would be Butler plus the points. But like I said, I didn't bet it. I can see the Georgetown angle with them bouncing back at home. But again, until Georgetown shows me that they have a little bit of a pulse, I'm not there. Because keep in mind, that game against Villanova that they won could have went either way. I mean, Villanova was in complete control of that game for almost the whole game besides the last 10 minutes of that game. So if that game wouldn't have won, you'd be looking at a really, really bad Georgetown team right now.
Yeah, I'm on board with maybe Georgetown's trending in the wrong direction, but we're talking about a short line. Butler on the road. Butler's trash. Georgetown by 7.
I agree. That's why I didn't play Butler, because I was like, do I really want to play this team on the road?
This is like where I would say the line should be if the game was in Butler. And then maybe I'd say, hey, we lean towards Butler here, plus 3.5 at home.
My thing is that Butler hasn't looked terrible against the good teams.
Suck,
they're
dude.
They're not winning, but a close game, a pretty decent. They put a pretty decent effort against Marquette. They lost to UConn in overtime, a 4-point game to Creighton. They're bad. I'm not even. It's that matter. Whatever. Next game.
What's up next? Dayton St. Louis. The last St. Louis game, they were catching 6.5. I said on the midnight stream that I liked it. You said St. Louis or pass, and I liked what you said, and I didn't bet it. They won outright by like 9. They won comfortably.
Yeah. That was like a huge game for them because that was VCU, which is
VCU. That's what it was.
Yeah, when you're talking about the A10 conference, it's them and George Mason as the top 2 teams in that conference. So, regardless if home or on the road, as an 7 point dog or whatever, winning that game comfortably, very impressive. I do want to see what they look like. I kind of lean Dayton in this game just because of that. You have St. Louis off of probably their best performance of the season after keep in mind they played this VCU team earlier in January before that nice big win, and they got absolutely destroyed. So a really, really big up spot here for St. Louis after that win against VCU. I don't know if they're able to get up against a Dayton team that is very good. I mean, they're number 3 or 4 in the A10, so it's not like there's some pushover. They're coming off an embarrassing loss against St. Bonaventure on the road. They had won their previous 3 or 4 games before that. The only one that they had lost before that was George Mason, and that was a close game. And like I just talked about, George Mason's a top team in the A10. So I think that personally Dayton probably bounces back here. I also think that this game is going to be kind of ugly to watch. I think that Dayton tries to slow this game down a little bit. St. Louis likes to play a little bit faster, but it's just a matter of if the Dayton defense shows up, and that's why I didn't end up playing Dayton, because I can trust the Dayton offense. They're one of the best shooting teams in the country. When they're on, they look really, really good, especially like we saw them in Hawaii and whatnot. At times they can look really bad, but when they're off, they look really, really bad, and the Dayton defense is one of the worst in the conference at all. So I think that St. Louis should be able to eat inside, not to mention St. Louis is a better free throw shooting team, but at the same time, I really don't like the spot for our St. Louis. So I would lean Dayton plus the points or pass in a bounce back, because I do think that Dayton's an overall better team, but we'll see what happens. There's probably a reason that St. Louis is now the favorite.
Nah, I like Dayton here. I'd be down to bet this one. Just a regular spot. And I don't know a ton about A10 basketball. I usually just am tailing toaster people you have on the show. But you have St. Louis coming off the big upset win, and you got Dayton coming off the really bad loss. Tell me that's not a perfect spot to bet on.
I agree. That's why I really lean Dayton bad. So
I'm going to bet this, dude.
If I haven't been seeing the board like piss, it would have been probably a money line bet for me. Like, I really want to bet Dayton money line, especially now that it's continued to get bet up. Like, that's where I think it's getting a little bit too far. I think you can get almost Dayton 2.5s now, which at this point is just getting over a possession is just crazy.
All right, let's move on to the next game. Proppy, this is your top bet, right? Harvard, Columbia.
Yeah, I'm taking.
I did steal this bet.
And the points here. I just don't think Columbia has the heart, honestly, to be laying points like
They don't have the size.
No, they don't have the size. They don't have the girth, and they certainly don't have the circumference.
Yeah. I actually stole this play from Beaver. He was talking about this as soon as he walked into the office this morning. It's the first thing I saw him. So thanks to you. But I did take Harvard +4 in this game. And this is just going to be a classic toast. In what world is Columbia a 4-point favorite against anybody? I mean, it makes absolutely no sense to me. This team is 0-4 in conference play. Yeah, they've played a little bit of decent competition. But at the same time, this Harvard team really can't shoot the 3 ball at all. But they're very, very dominant inside. And that's one area that Columbia really struggles with. I don't really worry about Columbia's offense. They're all right, but Harvard inside should be able to hold their own. And if Columbia beats me by the 3-point shot, so be it. But I just don't see that happening. I think these games, these two teams are very evenly matched. I actually have this game Harvard -1. It doesn't. 4 is just absolutely. I think it's calmed down a little bit. Yeah, 2.5. But regardless, I would still take Harvard plus the points here. Columbia should not be a favorite against anybody in the Ivy League.
Hairston goes, Harvard, I'm tailing Beaver.
Thank you. Thanks. Somebody
Fuck
has
you,
faith.
put Harvard up for me. I'll take Harvard too. I'm not betting this, but just let the record show that I stand with Prop Beaver and his Harvard analysis. They don't have the size, they don't have the girth, I believe is what he said.
They got
Next
the heart.
game. Oh, last game. We only have 4. Oh, Indiana Purdue.
Yeah. That's a
Is
good
it
one.
really 12.5?
Yeah.
Indiana's trash.
Yeah, Indiana's
This is a
trash.
rivalry game, though. You don't lay 12.5.
I laid it. I laid
Hold on.
11.5.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Last year in the Discord, did I not take Indiana money line when they were like 14-point dogs in this same game? And they almost won. Right?
Yes.
I'm looking this up right now.
Now I'm curious to see.
You remember that, right?
Yeah, no, I do, and now it's gonna bother me.
I'm looking it up right now. When did
What game that was?
No.
It must not have been Purdue.
It must not have been Purdue.
Or-
Let me
I
see.
remember that though. I remember distinctly that. That's anyway.
Oh, they played number 2 Kansas and they lost by a possession.
That's probably what it was.
I took them
yeah.
against Kansas.
It was a big name team. I do distinctly remember that because this is a time of year where you're only doing so many bets. But
No, you know what? It wasn't Kansas. On the road to Illinois.
oh, fuck that team. They suck.
They covered, but I had the money line. It was like a plus 1,100 money line or something. But anyway, go on. So he took Purdue?
Yeah, I took Purdue. First of all, it's just playing Indiana away from home is a thing that I'm going to continue to fade until they give me a reason not to. I mean, a 9-point loss on the road to Northwestern, a 25-point loss on the road to Iowa, which, I mean, if anybody knows college basketball, or in which they are if they're still watching this show, is that Iowa defensively is absolutely terrible. Offensively is where they usually make their money. Iowa scoring 60 points against this Indiana team was just an absolute joke. So Indiana really hasn't been tested like this either in conference play. The best team that they've really seen in conference play is Illinois. They got absolutely destroyed by that game, and that game was at home. I just feel like Purdue right now, especially after I know that they had a Michigan game in between where they killed them, but losing that Ohio State game I think really pissed that team off, especially at home here in Mackey. This is going to be their 3rd straight home game. I get that Indiana might be the sharp play here. They've lost 4 or 5. You're going to probably get an all-out effort from them, but this team is absolutely terrible, and they have really the guard play for Indiana is where it really changes for me because you have 2 of the best guards in the country with Purdue, with Smith and Lawyer, and you're facing a team with Rice and Trey Galloway that really have no idea what the hell they're doing at the point guard position. So for me, I think that Purdue should continue to roll. When they have played at home, they've been able to blow teams out. They beat Nebraska by 40. They beat Michigan by 30. Who else did they beat? Toledo by 20, Michigan by 5. Maryland by 5, and Maryland's 15 times better than Indiana. So I don't really worry about the big number. I feel like it's almost like they're baiting you to be sharp and take Indiana, and I ain't falling for it.
Look, this Indiana team, they're a simple program, hardworking.
I dare you.
Gene Hackman.
I knew that was coming.
You're going to lay 12.5 to Gene Hackman here. He was built to win this game. Even when one of his guys gets in foul trouble, doesn't matter. The rest of the team still steps up. Juice is on Hoosiers. Dude, we're going to have this game on the main screen tonight. I have to bet it. You actually bet this?
I did. I did.
Why, bro? You're on the wrong side.
Shocker.
I want to bet Indiana here. I want to side with Juice. He says Mackey's going to be rumbling, but I don't care.
Somebody said it's $2 pudding night at Mackey.
$2 pudding night does get the student section up. Oh. They're going to be puddinged up. They're going to be sauced. So I might bet. I don't know. I am going to bet that Dayton though. That's for sure. All right, cool. Everyone, thanks for watching. We'll be back at 10 a.m. tomorrow. We have 26 games. So if you haven't looked at tomorrow's college basketball slate, holy shit. It's the most loaded day of all time. We're literally going through 26 games, and we're not really forcing it. Like, it's games that are like, we can't skip that one. We can't skip that one.
It's amazing. Tennessee, Florida, Gonzaga, St. Mary's, Kansas, Baylor, Auburn, Ole Miss. Yeah,
there's like
so
6
many
or
games.
7 premier matchups. So if we're going to be live for probably like 2 hours tomorrow morning going through all of them. So if you're looking for a good day to do some gambling, I'll see you in the morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time.